Okay, what's going on, everyone? Swinging Bull here with PB Alerts. Welcome to my earnings stream. Today we got Adobe. I'm actually pretty interested to seeing how the stock price reacts to their earnings, and got some Jeff on YouTube. Um, Hoping they have a great earnings and say how much they integrated AI. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And if I can get any commentary from the CEO and CFO, I'll definitely share that with everybody. But welcome to the stream. So we're going to cover Adobe, and then also picked out this penny stock. It's called Farmer Brothers, ticker symbol Farm. So kind of one extreme to the other, but we'll see. We'll look into the company, look into their financials, fundamentals, see what they're all about. But I know the big focus is going to be Adobe, and let's just take a look and see what time both of these companies are reporting. So Adobe is reporting at 4:05 p.m. Eastern, and their forecast EPS is $5.18. Forecast revenue $5.9 billion. And here's a quick look at their annual chart here. So trading below the anchored VWAP, around support. It's bounced where it's at. It's been bouncing kind of back and forth on that level since I'd say like into April, kind of bouncing that level there. And then beginning of August, and then recently, earlier this month, kind of testing that level too. So let me pull up the sticks on the trading view chart, look at the daily. So if they get a positive reaction, they need to clear this first level, which is about 365. So they closed the regular session at $350.78. So thinking if they get a positive reaction, they need to deal with 365 first, but then, we're probably looking at 375 after that. If they get a negative reaction, look for this support that keeps getting tested on the daily chart. I'm going to put it around 330. So we'll see how they end up reacting. That spot, that around 330, that's been resistance before. It was resistance support, in May. And then, like I was saying before, like the second week of April, and then August, and recently earlier this month. So 330, that's obviously the level to the downside to keep your eye on if they have a negative reaction. Let's see, we got a few more minutes to go. Our team on Discord says, hi, Ben, all good. You have a CPS on ADBE. Are you talking about is that a put credit spread? A credit put spread, I guess is what you're trying to say. Put credit spread. So I'm assuming you sold the 320 and bought the 317.50, 1 DTE, and sold a put on Robinhood at 160, and 8 days to expiration. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're far enough out of the money. I mean, if you sold the 320, like I said, we were just looking at the daily chart, and it seems like there's some pretty good support around 330. So that put credit spread is probably going to be safe. Of course, anything can happen, but I do like the trade. Let's see. I'm on the 5-minute chart right now. Let me go to Trading View. Hold on. Okay. Oh wow, over 500 people already in the stream. Welcome everybody. It's Thursday. This is my last earnings stream of the week, but I do these every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So, all right, I'm going to go 1-minute chart Trading View. Let's see. They should be reporting in about 2 minutes. I suppose since we got 2 minutes, let's just take a look at some of their fundamentals just real quick before the data actually comes out. So, okay, when you say RH, you meant Restoration Hardware earnings today. Got it. Yeah, we'll look at that as well. Yeah, Top Cat on YouTube earnings are not out yet. Should be in about a minute. I was showing 4:05 p.m. Eastern is when the data drops. And then, of course, we'll figure out when their earnings web call is, and I'll show everyone how to get there and everything. Umar on YouTube, beat. Yeah, we'll see. But going into the earnings, they had a really healthy PE ratio, trailing 12 months of 22.43, EPS 15.63. I mean, this is a $350 stock, so those are good-looking PE and PE ratio and EPS. And free float 423 million. Just a quick peek at the income statement. Obviously, they're a profitable company. They usually range between $2 billion and $3 billion in positive net income. That's over the past 5 quarters. On the annual basis, they range from maybe like 5.7 billion all the way to 8 billion, kind of a little range of their now that would be cash flow for their operating cash flow. Income statement. Oh yeah, let me go to the annual view. Okay, so the positive net income on an annual basis between 4.7 billion and 5.5 billion. That's kind of the range of their positive net income on an annual basis. And let's see how much cash and equivalents they got. Yeah, as of let me see here, as of May 30th, 5.7 billion in cash and equivalents. So we'll go back to the chart. All right, look, we got some fireworks. We got something going on here. Top Cat, oh my God, didn't buy. Jeff on YouTube, let's go. All right, let's give this a minute to breathe. I mean, it is up $26 a share. I mean, if this, if it's going to reverse, you'd figure, I mean, I don't know about the move it just made. It's up now up $28 a share. I think this is the move, folks. This is up almost over 8%. Hatim on Discord, your put credit spread on Adobe looks like it's going to be just fine. And you'll probably have close to max gain on that tomorrow morning. So, I mean, you probably will. I mean, if the price stays up here, you'll have max gain on that. You can either let it expire worthless and collect 100% of the credit, or, if you're unsure about aftermarket price action or just price action in general during the intraday session tomorrow, if you're probably sitting at like 90-something% of max gain tomorrow morning after the opening bell, and you could easily just close it out. Some brokers will actually do it commission free if the contract price is under a certain time, and if it's almost worthless, then you might not even have to pay commission on the closing trade. So good stuff there, team. I like the trade. Let me go to my other screen. Let me get EPS revenue. It looks like some people are chiming in here on YouTube with some of the data. Andrea Zadarik on YouTube. I appreciate the info there. Posting that for everyone for us. Let me just check some other things because I want to see what the CEO and CFO want to say. Top Cat says pump and dump. I don't know. I wouldn't really think so with a company like Adobe. But we had, earnings reactions in the past for other companies. I mean, there could be blue chip companies where sometimes the initial move happens and then it reverses like really, really quickly, ends up going the other way. It doesn't seem to be what's happening here. I mean, it is taking a little bit of a breather right now. Nonetheless, it's up $18 a share still, 5% up green in after hours. That's a nice move for a $350 stock. So it wouldn't surprise me if it pulls back a little bit, maybe some profit taking in after hours or something. I'm gonna draw a Fibonacci on this. I'm just gonna put it from right where it closed the regular session. I just want to see where the 25% retraces. Let me do this magnet here. There we go. Oops. Let's put it right. I'll use that top wick. It's fine. All right. So actually, I'm going to put it right at the candle when the data actually came out, right at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. So there we go now. So it's kind of pulled back about 50%. That's if you're counting this top wick. So taking a little breather, working on a green candle print right now. So it closed the regular session at 350.78. It went all the way to 382.21 in after hours. Then it pulled back to 367.85, kind of lines up with my fib to the T here. And so it's maybe possibly just taking a healthy breather right now. Let's see, these are only 1 minute candles, so we just got to give it a little bit more time for more of these to print, to kind of see where supply and demand is on these candles and things of that nature. LCL, let me find out the link for the Adobe earnings web call and also the earnings results, and I'll get that for you right now, matter of fact. And I'll post that in the comments for you. I'll just go right to their investor relations page. And here, I'll pull this over here. I'll keep Adobe's chart on the right. Let me move it over just a little bit because we don't need all that room. Okay, so this is Adobe's investor relations. This is where you're going to get all the earnings data. This is for LCL on YouTube. Want to make sure I take care of you there. So there's the link. I'll put it on the bottom of my screen. You can take a screenshot of that. That'll take you right to the investor relations. And right on the home page, you can see right here, just scroll down just a little bit. And right here, September 11th, 2025. And then you got the press release. You got the investor data sheet right here. These are all here. Let me zoom in, make sure you can see this. Here, that might be a little bit better. LCL, hopefully you can see this. So right here, September 11th. All right, and they got these hyperlinks. This will get you all the earnings data. You got the investor data sheet, and then the last link right here, watch webcast. So let's find out what time it is. So I know people want to watch that. Give me one second. There we go. Okay, it's at 2 p.m. Pacific time, so it's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern. All right, so we got about 45 more minutes before the actual earnings web call with the upper management and the CEO. But I did just post the link. If anyone wants to watch it, you got about 45 minutes to burn before it starts. But yeah, absolutely, I would expect the CEO and the upper management during that web call to talk more about the guidance and all that stuff. But let me see if I can find some commentary from them, just from my other source over here. And maybe they mentioned a few statements regarding the guidance. And let me move this back over to the right. And here we go. This is a nice little graphic. Let me go over the EPS forecast revenue and what they reported in the year over year and quarter over quarter numbers. Looking at the chart back over here on the left, it's testing this 50% retrace again. That's right around 367.85. Golden fib is 364. I'm going to call it 364.50. Definitely would like the golden ratio to hold on this fib retracement chart. So 364.50, that's going to be my S1 as far as these 1 minute candles are concerned for after hours price action we're watching right now. Don't want it retracing past 364.50 for the bulls. That would not be good. So let's see if some of these levels hold. And let me move this graphic over real quick and just show everyone this. Okay, so the forecast EPS was 5.18, and they reported 5.31. So 3% beat on EPS. Look at the chart testing the golden fib right now. Keep your eye on it, especially if you're trying to trade shares and with limit orders and after hours. You know that can be pretty tricky, and you got to click the mouse a few more times than just mark it in and mark it out of stuff. But anyways, revenue forecast was 5.9 billion, and they reported 5.98 billion. So just barely beat the revenue. EPS was a little bit of a better beat, but kind of small beats nonetheless. Year over year numbers have double digit growth as far as EPS and revenue. Quarter over quarter, single digit growth. So it's just kind of a snapshot there. But yeah, look at this. And also, Hakeem, you still over there in the Discord? I think you are. I know it's kind of retracing this rally here, but that's why I was saying earlier why I really liked your trade, the put credit spread, because you put it pretty far out the money. Looks like you did $2.50 wide spread, and the strike you sold to open was the 320. So even if this retraces all the way back down, your spread is still like 35 points out the money. So that should expire worthless, and you should collect 100% of that, I would think. But beautiful, positive initial reaction, but now it's kind of dumping off, kind of falling off a cliff. Look, it's about to retrace 100%. I mean, there's really not any other support level on these smaller time frames from where it started. If it falls below the 78%, which is right around, I'm gonna call that 360 a share, this thing's got to recover 360, or it's going to retrace 100% and perhaps go the other way. Let me look at my other screen because I want to know why it's pulling back 100% from the pump. Let me see if I can Okay, I do got some commentary from the CEO. Let me go over this real quick because I know most people are here for Adobe. It's like 1,000 people in the stream right now. Okay, let me read this commentary. This is from Shantanu Narayan, who's the chair and CEO of Adobe. Says Adobe is the leader in the AI creative applications category with AI influenced ARR surpassing $5 billion and AI first ARR already exceeding our $250 million year end target. That was said by the chair and the CEO of Adobe. Given our customer strategy, AI product innovation, and strong go-to-market execution, we're pleased to announce once again to raise our fiscal year 2025 total revenue and EPS targets. So they raised guidance for the remainder of the year. So this might just, I know it's retracing this positive reaction. I mean, you might as well just say it retraced all the way back down, right? I mean, it closed. I mean, right when the rally started, it was trading around just under 354. So it came down to like 355 and some change. Yeah, close enough. It basically retraced all the way. Close enough for hand grenades, right? But nonetheless, does this 355 touch? Let me see what Weeble says it is. 355.11. Yeah, I'll just call that 355. So nonetheless, if this 355, this still could turn into a higher low compared to where it closed the regular session. So keep your eye on that. I mean, maybe this was just a bunch of profit taking, but they raised the remainder of this year's guidance for revenue and EPS. So, I know for the bulls, it coming up to 382 after closing the regular session just above 350, was pretty exciting. And you probably didn't want to see this pull back and take a breather this far. I mean, maybe pull back like 25% or 50%. Okay. But that was quite the pullback retracement on the initial positive reaction. But look at here. There are buyers hitting the tape. Go to time and sales here. Now we got some green blocks coming in. There's some red still here and there, but buyers are winning this tug of war battle here right now. So buyers back in charge for the time being. Let me see. Let me draw this on here. Go from like here. Okay. Ooh, let me do the magnet. I like the little magnets because it puts it right to the price I want it. Yeah, kind of looking like something like this, perhaps. So resistance on the 1 minute chart. Of course, I'm just looking at the 1 minute chart because the data was just released. I normally, look at charts at much higher time frames, but with these earnings reactions, this is the data that we have to work with. So it is what it is. But watch for 355 to turn into a higher low. If it prints another higher low, it could come up and test the after hours high. I think that would give it a good chance at doing that, and confidence should rise a little bit that it is in fact going to go back up. But it's still a little too early. Let me look at another thing. So Adobe achieved record revenue of $5.99 billion in its third quarter of fiscal year 2025, which represents 11% year-over-year growth, or 10% in constant currency. Cash flows from operations were $2.2 billion. Okay. Digital media segment revenue was $4.46 billion, which represents 12% year-over-year growth. Digital experience segment revenue was $1.48 billion, representing 9% year-over-year growth. Okay, here's some statements from the CFO, Dan Dern. Adobe delivered record Q3 revenue with strength in subscription revenue across both digital media and digital experience segments. We're raising our fiscal year 25 total revenue and EPS target. So it's kind of reiterating what the CEO was saying. All right. So raising the guidance for the rest of the year as they execute against their growth strategy to deliver category-leading and AI-infused solutions to meet the diverse needs of our customers. So, I mean, they are throwing around the magic word a lot, AI. And let me take a look at a few other things just real quick. Let me put farm on here because the farm was the other ticker, which it, I don't know. Is their earnings out yet? This is probably mainly we're probably mainly going to talk about Adobe tonight, but farm was supposed to report at 4:15. It's 4:20. And it just doesn't look like they got any movement. It's a penny stock anyway, but I think Adobe is going to be where most of the attention is. So I'm going to post their EPS and revenue. Okay, so yeah, we already got the link. Volstag says RH getting hammered. Yeah, since there's no action on Farmer Brothers, let me pull up RH because there was a few people talking about that. Oh, wow. Yeah, RH is getting hammered. Let me check it over here real quick. So for those that don't know, RH is a specialty retailer, luxury lifestyle brand operating primarily in the home furnishings market. Okay, and they are based in the U.S. $200 stock, so you know there's a reason why they're trading up here. I mean, I bet their fundamentals aren't too bad. PE ratio 54, could be on a little on the high side for a retailer maybe. Only a 15 million float. That's a super low float for a $200 stock. Just look at the chart here. Oh yeah, they just coming off of a pretty good downtrend from February. Well, I mean that's February to April, so that's when the market correction happened. So maybe no fault of RH on that one. Slowly trending up since then, going into this earnings, but now they're trading in the post market just below $200 a share. You can see on the volume profile. Got a little volume shelf sticking out on RH here. Kind of like the mid to low 190s, like 195. There could be some support around 195. So that's probably where I'd be looking for this to possibly bounce. It's trading a little above 198 right now. But 195 seems to be like a pretty good level based on how much volume came in over the past what's been this is 6 months of price action. So 6 months of price action, lots of volume came in the 190s. I'd say mid to low 190s. Okay, I'd probably call support level number 195 on this thing. All right, so that's RH. I'll get some data on them here in a second. I want to get some more things on Adobe. By the way, Adobe's implied move was up or down 10%. Jeff on YouTube. Well, it's not a disaster. It's not a Lululemon earning reaction, right? Yeah, I remember the Lulu earnings and what the CEO just was not sugarcoating anything, and he just came out and said very disappointing U.S. business sales data, and which kind of gives you insight into consumer spending and consumer sentiment a little bit when what some of the stuff Lulu's CEO is saying, but. Yeah, I don't think it's as not a Lulu earnings reaction so far, right? But anyways, let me go back intraday on here. So RH, okay, it did bounce off 190, but now it's back above that 195 level I was talking about. You can see that wick. It's a 15-minute candle. So it did come down below 195 to hit 190, a little above 190. Got bought up pretty well though. So now it's kind of battling that mid 190 level we were looking at on the daily time frame. So I do think that is a good level of interest that we could keep our eye on, or any RH traders out there. So support level number one for RH 195. But anyways, Adobe 10% implied move for this earnings. So close to regular session at $350 a share. So you got to think, the implied move is $35 a share, right? It's up $15 a share right now. Okay. It did come up to 382, which is right around the expected move. And that was the initial reaction. So it kind of did hit the expected move close enough. However, we just witnessed it retrace almost 100%, probably not retrace 95% there. But now there are buyers scooping this up. I mean, they increased their guidance. I mean, that alone should create some confidence for investors. So another thing, let's look at this. I want to find something else here. And what's that? Oh, it's almost 425. Okay. I'm going to go back to farm just for a second, just because I had it on the list here. I mean, farm is up. I mean, it's a $2, $2.33 was where it closed the regular session. Trading just below 250 right now. It's up almost 7%. But farm really doesn't have much of a following. I mean, I guess there is a farm following. Just looking at some of these people on X commenting about farm. I suppose they got a small following, but Adobe is what's on everyone's radar right now. Gary Gann on YouTube, is Adobe good now? I don't think it was ever bad. It had a nice positive reaction to 382. Yes, I know that almost retracing that whole initial reaction was kind of concerning for bulls, but it's not red, and it's still up $15 a share from where it closed at. That's a solid move. I mean, it's up over 4% for a $350 stock. So yes, bulls didn't want to see it retrace that much of that positive reaction, but nonetheless, it's still up quite nicely in after hours, and it's looking like it might try and make a run to retrace some of these levels back up. Let's see. It looked like it held pretty good right around 360. It did dip below that for momentarily, but got price recovered that level fairly quickly. And now it's retraced the golden fib we were talking about, which is 364. That's the level we were talking about before. 364, definitely support level number 1, support level number 2, 359. Resistance levels. I'd like to see this get back above that 50%, which is 367.50 is what I got. You see it kind of just tapped that a few minutes ago. About 3 minutes ago, tapped that level. Kind of got rejected though. So 367.50, that's resistance number 1, folks. Resistance level number 2 is that 25% retrace right around 375. So it's got some work to do before it can get back up there. But even if it stays here, in my opinion, even if it stays here, this is still a solid move. It's up over $14 still. It's kind of holding on to some of these gains from the post market. Adobe's going to be just fine, folks. Very profitable company. They increased their guidance for the remainder of the year. They beat EPS. They beat revenue. Their year over year and quarter over quarter numbers were green across the board as far as EPS and revenue goes. 11% revenue growth, double-digit EPS growth. And they repurchased 8 million shares. So they got obviously an ongoing share repurchase program. Pet Rabarbaro on YouTube. We are 400 already? Not yet, but it's a bit higher from where it closed the regular session at. Again, up over $14 a share. It's green 4%. I'm going to go back to RH because that one was, I actually should have had that one as my second one instead of farm, but so RH does look like it bottomed out at 190, and then it recovered that 195 level pretty super quickly. And that 195 level on RH, that was that level of interest on the bigger time frame. You can actually put some weight on that level. It's not no 1 minute, 5 minute, 15-minute level. That's what try and get used to pulling up the bigger time frames. Those are the levels you need to put more weight to. Pull up the monthly chart, pull up the weekly chart. And then the daily, draw some horizontal lines while you're on those time frames, and then that way, when you're on the smaller time frames intraday, you'll know if the price is coming up to an important level or coming down to an important level. And traders are looking at the bigger time frames, the ones I've been doing this for a while. Okay, so yeah, RH looks to be retracing back a little bit. I'm not going to count that top wick, but let me just see how far it retraced. Yeah, it's contending with the 50% retrace right now. If we can get back above there, my confidence is going to be pretty good that this will retrace back up to baseline, but we'll see. 209 a share on RH. If we can get back above there, maybe close a 15-minute. I mean, these are 15-minute candles, by the way. If we can close a 15-minute candle above there, it would be a nice start for this retracing back up. Look at Adobe. Looks like it's trying to print another higher low. Look at the volume profile on my chart, folks. This is just after hours price action from when the earnings data came out. Look at all this volume came in right here at 364. That's the golden fib. My mathematician people out there know what I'm talking about. You see the volume node sticking out like a sore thumb right here. So that would probably be good support. You know, if you're trying to scalp this in after hours with limit orders, you know, my risk would be right below that volume shelf. And you might be able to catch a decent trade on this. Not financial advice, but, you know, you got to be looking at what levels the volume's coming in at. So let's see if this 364 ends up holding. But Adobe's not looking bad at all. Again, it's up almost $15 a share. It's changing because the post market's open right now, but 14.94, 14.56, 14.91. This is trading just below $15 a share profit, and as far as where, you know, from where it closed the regular session at 350, a little above 350. All right. Okay, so I already showed everyone how to get to the earnings web call. Again, that starts in 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes. I'm probably not going to stream the earnings web call myself, but I'll be here and chatting leading up to that probably. Adobe RPO was up plus 13%. And for those that don't know what RPO is, it's an important term with companies like this. And that stands for remaining performance obligations. That's up 13% to $20.4 billion. That's amazing. Q4, okay, yeah, that was them just raising the rest of the year guidance there. All right, I think Adobe's going to be just fine. I don't think it'll come back down. It's looking like it's holding up pretty good above the golden fib. We're at 364 share. Again, that's my support in after hours, 364. And then if all else fails, we 359 needs to hold. All right, we already talked about the implied move being 10%. So it's not, I mean, it's only like halfway to the expected move. So if this doesn't, you know, when they do their earnings web call at 5 p.m. Eastern, there could be another leg up. Once the CEO starts talking about guidance and things of that nature. Go 5-minute chart on RH. All right, RH is kind of fish hooking a little bit. Let's see if it can reclaim some of those levels. Yeah, Jay Fonzie on YouTube. That's exactly what I was thinking. That the earnings web call might give it another little bump. So we shall see. In about 30 minutes, we will find that out. And we already talked about the remaining performance obligations. That was nice and green. Okay, the sizable adjusted EPS growth outpaces revenue improvement, signaling operational leverage. Robust digital media gains highlight sustained end market demand and successful AI monetization. And of course, the continued RPO growth confirms stable recurring revenue visibility. Adobe's earnings call scheduled for 5 p.m. Eastern. That's where we could see a secondary move. So it's kind of trading sideways right now. Kind of thinking about what, you know, investors thinking about what their next move is going to be on this thing. But nonetheless, it's up over $14 a share in post market right now. Okay. Look at a few other things. And before I sign off the stream, oh yeah, matter of fact, I'm gonna post this data for everyone in the comments. Because they had a positive net income of 1.77 billion. Put that there. There we go. So good stuff. Yeah, Dave did it on YouTube. I like the earnings, and they raised guys. So they beat EPS. I was talking about this earlier. They beat EPS forecast. They beat revenue forecast. The EPS and revenue year over year and quarter over quarter numbers green across the board. So nice growth there on those fronts. And they raised the remainder of the year's guidance. So overall, it looks great. Nice, fat, and juicy. Positive net income at 1.77 billion. I really like their earnings, and the AI influence ARR surpassed 5 billion. Strong demand across digital media and experience segments. I like the earnings. Let's look at the bigger time frame chart on this thing. Okay, so it's trading just under 364 in after hours. We were talking about this earlier. Resistance levels is 364, 365. That's actually a resistance level on the weekly chart from last month. About 3 weeks ago, Adobe came up there and tested the mid 360s, and then it got rejected. But there was also nice solid demand at 330. So it was like trading in a $30 range leading up to earnings. But if this 360, if it can get above 360, it's trading right underneath 365 right now. So that weekly level of interest, the top of these two weekly candles, it's right around 364, 365, around there. I'm just going to call it 365. If you can get up there, I think tonight, this thing could trend into the 370s tomorrow, because that'd be the next level up. You can check the volume profile and confirm that as well. But 375, that's going to be the next target on this thing. 365 holds. I think it makes a clean move to 375. That's, this is just technical analysis, by the way. But couple that with the great earnings data, and maybe we're onto something here. Let me check Discord, make sure I didn't miss any comments. Let's see here. Tammy says, "Come on, 450." Yeah, that would be nice. Tammy's an OG Discord member, been here for years, also a lifetime member. Tammy, I would think you probably got a position in Adobe, because you've got some pretty sweet positions that you've had for a long time with some pretty sweet averages. So really liking some of your positions on your longer term portfolio, Tammy. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Let me look over here on YouTube. Lot on Kick. By the way, yeah, we're also streaming on Kick. So maybe it's Lottie. Hopefully I pronounced that right. But yeah, welcome to the show. I've been doing these earnings streams all year. I know I've been doing them for over 9 months now, and I think I'm getting better at it. I think I'm a little entertaining. But yeah, usually average a few thousand people 3 times a week. So, 6,000, 8,000 viewers a week. And we just come on here, we have some fun, we look at the earnings reactions, we get the EPS, we get the revenue numbers, any guidance information. I show everyone how to get to the earnings web call. Matter of fact, let me put that link back up there for Discord, or for Adobe, for the earnings web call. I'm gonna scroll up in the comments. Got quite a few comments today too. That's awesome. Nice engagement. Kind of scroll way up there. All right, there's the link for the earnings web call for Adobe. It starts in about 20 minutes. All right, so you got 20 minutes to burn before that starts. I'm gonna go back intraday on Adobe, since we got some weekly time frame levels that probably hold some decent weight. So like I say, if you get back above 365, my next target's 375 on that thing, and that does line up basically to 25% retrace of that initial pump to 382 ahead, right when the data was being released. Top, oh my man, Top's in the house. I gotta show some love to my buddy Top. Good to see you. There's a few Tops in here. We got Top Cat, and then we got Top 40. Good to see everybody. I'm gonna scroll back up, put this link back on there. There we go. Okay, so Adobe just lost that 364 level that it was kind of trading sideways at. So again, My second level of support was 359. 359, 360. I guess it could be like a $1 range. So let's see if that holds. Overall, I think their earnings were decent. I mean, I don't know if investors were just wanting more of a beat than the beat that they announced, but here's an earnings snapshot from. Give a shout out to Brad Freeman on X. Posted some great information for everyone. Share this. I got to give credit where it's due, right? Brad did a great job of compiling all this data. So here's a nice compilation of data by Brad. I mean, the numbers look good. They beat revenue estimate. They beat the guide. They beat the EBIT estimate. They beat the guide for the digital media and digital experience segments. They raised Q4 revenue guide, raised Q4 EPS guide, raised annual media revenue. And that reminds me, I was reading a comment from Tammy earlier that, would you say, Tammy? It was, oh yeah, they always beat but never hold! Exclamation point. Hoping this time is different. Yeah, I feel you. So I guess what Adobe, we'll go back and look at the earnings reactions from the previous earnings. But who knows, we'll see. And I do agree, yes, they do have good fundamentals and good earnings. But it's like Wall Street doesn't give them any love, right? Modestly lowered Q4 experience revenue expectations. Well, maybe that has something to do with the retracing we're seeing from that positive reaction. Modestly lowered Q4 experience revenue expectations, given annual reiteration. Everything else is nice and green, though. But anyways, thank you, Brad, for that graph or chart of information you gave us. Appreciate you. Okay. But yeah, Adobe double beat and raised guidance. So I don't think they'll stay down here for long. And again, nonetheless, they're still up $9 a share. But look, it's fighting with this other fib level. Look how that lines up so nice. So it's printing a couple doji candles right around this last remaining fib level. I mean, I suppose the bottom line would be the bottom level, but that's where I drew the fib to begin with, to 353 a share. But it's kind of fighting with this fib level here, 359 a share. Interesting, that lines up pretty good like that. So yeah, let's see, 359 holds. I'll be looking for a retest of 364 and then a break above that. To get above that, again, it's at 364, 365. It's like this level on the weekly chart that was pretty important. So it's got some work to do. I kind of feel like I'm talking like it had a negative reaction, and it's like, oh, what's it got to do to get back up? But that's why you got to we have to remind ourselves this is still a positive reaction, even though the price looks a little ugly. Again, okay, it's up $10 a share now. So yeah, the reaction is a very interesting reaction. Initial positive reaction, almost retraced 100% to the downside, then retraces back up to the 50% retrace and literally taps it on the money, gets rejected, traded sideways around that 364, 365 level we spotted on the weekly chart, and then that level just kind of gave out, and now this final fib level around 359 is kind of level of interest here, kind of holding the stock up. Printed a few dojis, and now some green candle prints are coming in. Time and sales, yeah, we got some green on the time and sales coming in. That's for sure. I mean, it's printing a green candle, right? So of course, but no, that's good to see that it's kind of flowing in now. And also, for you technical analysis people out there, possible double bottom bounce at 359 maybe, and kind of lines up pretty good, don't it? So keep your eye on that. But yeah, resistance level number one moving forward, 364, 365, about $1 range resistance level. And then And then I'd like to see it get back above 375, and that would just be a beautiful thing for the Adobe bulls. But nonetheless, even if it holds where it's at right now, it's still up over $10 a share. So it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. Look at RH. This is the kind of retrace price action I'm talking about. Look at how this is a 5-minute candle. That's a nice fat 5-minute candle. Look at them retracing back up beautifully. Wow, they just retraced 78% back to 220. They closed the regular session at 228. I did get a lot of comments about RH. So let's see when their earnings web call is. I'm curious what time it is and all that good stuff. I'll just take a look here. Do they got an events section? I'm sure they do. Yeah, news and events. All right, I'm going to block Adobe just for a second. I'll keep RH on the right here because this thing did, look at that. It's retracing all the way back up. So obviously that first move wasn't the real move, or it just took a little bit of time for investors to actually digest the earnings data, and then, you know, institutions, hedge funds, with, you know, what have you, kind of realizing, okay, let's go ahead and buy this dip. This is a level of value. And definitely looks like that dip is being bought right now. Let's see when their actual earnings call is. Okay, yeah, right here on the home page. Wow, look how small this link is. This is pretty easy. If anyone wants to see the RH earnings web call with the upper management and the CEO, that's the link you got to type in. ir.rh.com. That's it. As soon as you get there, right on the homepage, you see this hyperlink says listen to the webcast. And then, of course, they were kind enough to post a PDF document that shows the actual financial results. So you can dig deeper into their financial data just by clicking on that and getting the PDF. But let's see what time their earnings webcast is. Listen to the webcast. Let me click that. Okay, their webcast is at 5 p.m. Eastern as well. So both Adobe and RH are having their earnings web call at the same exact time. So that's at 5 p.m. Eastern. So now that we got the information for that, I hope that maybe saved some time for some of the viewers out there. You didn't have to go digging for that link to find out where the earnings web call is at. Okay, it's a little past 4:45. Something I like to do at the end of all these streams is just kind of give a quick recap of some of my open positions. For those that know me, you know I mainly write contracts. I run a lot of the wheel strategy. That is my bread and butter. I also do a lot of spread trades. And just want to, I do have 3 open wheel strategy trades open right now. And those are nice and green today. Here, I'll just pull my account over here. And this is something I do in the Discord. I always, you know, I share my screen and I let the members know exactly. Let me get this bottom rocker off the screen there. Okay, there you go. You can see the positions now. But I'm very transparent in the Discord. I'm one of the coaches over there. And what I do over there is I educate people on how to write contracts. That's my bread and butter. That's what I've been trading for many, many years. I'm kind of like a little mini market maker, if you will. I mean, that's if you're writing contracts, you technically are, because you're providing liquidity to the option chain when you write a contract. So you technically are a little mini market maker, okay? And I just love trading that way. I like being on that side of the opening transaction. I have a lot of fun with it. My goal every year is to beat the S&P annual average by at least 3x. And I've been able to do that for a long time now. And I'm part of this Discord. It's, PB Alerts is the name of the Discord. My name on the Discord is the Swinging Bull. My real name is Benjamin. Most people call me Ben. But if you join the Discord, tag me in the chat, the Swinging Bull. I'll come over and say hello. But yeah, I'm a coach over there. I got a great coaching group. There's like 80 people in my coaching group. I think there's actually a little more than that now. But we have a lot of fun. I target weekly and monthly income. Sometimes I do bi-weekly. And, you know, that's just what I love doing. So this is just an example. I also have a Vanguard account I trade on. I also have a Schwab account I trade on. And I do trade on Tasty Trade every now and then if I'm looking to short anything, because Tasty Trade seems to be the broker that usually always has short shares available. So just a little tip for everyone on that. But yeah, let me, Alejandro Man on YouTube. Where's it going? Where's Adobe going now? Let's take a look. I'll go over there real quick before I share those open positions with everyone. All right, so it looks just a little summary on Adobe. So had a nice positive reaction to 382 a share. Then it damn near pulled back almost 100%. But that got bought up pretty well. You can see the bottom wicks there. So that obviously was undervalued there according to investors and traders. But it finally kind of made a higher low. I mean, even though it almost retraced 100%, it didn't retrace all the way. So that could be construed as a higher low, perhaps. So buyers stepped back into the picture. It started trading sideways around 364, 365, which is that bigger time frame level on the weekly chart we were looking at. Then that level kind of gave out for now. And it almost looks to be like there could be, you know, support right here around 359 to 360 a share. I'd probably put it at 359. So it kind of bounced off that level just now a little bit, but now it's kind of pulling back again. So, you know, support level number one, I'm going to call it 359. If it doesn't hold 359, it's pretty obvious it's probably going to come down and make an after hours low, unfortunately. But that hasn't happened yet. Okay, so that's just something that could happen. But let's see. Their earnings web call is in 10 minutes. There could be a secondary move when their earnings web call begins and is going on. So right now it's just a little bit of indecision with Adobe, but nonetheless it is still up over $10 a share. Alejandro Man says you're going to join. Nice, yeah. And that the Discord group I was talking about, what I have my coaching team in there, and like I said, there's about 80 people on the team right now. And you know, if you just want to check out the Discord for free, look at the links in the description of this stream. You can just join the free section and see how you like it and go from there. But my coaching program is $39 a month. We do have a special going on right now for 20% off. So that saves a lot of money. And if you want the 20% off the coaching, and also I just want everyone to understand these wheel strategy trades that I got 3 of them open right now. My profit target on these wheels is usually around $1,000 profit on each one. Okay, that's usually what I and that's usually Ford actually might be a half that, because Ford's premiums aren't as juicy as some of the other stocks I wheel. But usually I target $1,000 profit on each of these wheels, and that's a mixture of selling cash secured puts for profit or premium, and then, you know, maybe usually I get 2 to 3 rounds of cash secured puts in before I even get assigned one single share. So I'm just building up a nice cushion for myself for my cost basis. And then once I do get assigned, I flip the script and start selling covered calls. Another added bonus is if the stock pays a dividend. Now you got like a third income stream, right? And then, you know, I usually try and get in a few rounds of covered calls, and then eventually my shares get called away. But once the wheel fully rotates, I usually, my average is about $1,000 profit per wheel. And these wheels usually go on for about 90 days. So like, you know, but I usually have 4 to 6 of them going at one time. So do the math, right? And as one wheel is closing down for profit, then I replace it with a new one. So I usually have a solid pipeline going of 4 to 6 wheels open at any given time, constantly rotating things in and out. And then also I did start a wheel account challenge, an account challenge. So that account challenge, let me just go to my X account here. If you want to follow the account challenge, I started it with $2,500 because I wanted to prove to everybody that you can do the wheel strategy. Some people think you need a ton of capital to do the wheel strategy. That's simply not true. It's not true. and I'm proving it in real time. I started this challenge with $2,500, and it's already up. And I started it 4 weeks ago. Actually, tomorrow will be 4 weeks to the day, and it's already up 9.1% in just 4 weeks. That's on the total portfolio. Okay. When I get the account up to 3,000, I'll probably continue to use 2,500, and I'll keep $500 on the side to start building a cash position in case I need to deploy any rescue missions on any current wheels on the account challenge. But I just made up this nice little graphic, and of course anyone can make up a graphic. But on my X account, I do post all the trades. Okay, this is my actual Fidelity account. All right, and you can see the actual contracts that I'm trading and the tickers. We had a nice trade on Bull. Had a few trades on JetBlue, trade on Mara. We traded TSLL. That was a fun one to trade. Then we traded UMAC. Of course, I only funded the account with 2,500, so I'm kind of limited on how many contracts I can do and stuff like that. But I'm just literally in real time proving that you don't need a lot of money to write contracts, because that's what the wheel strategy is. You're writing contracts. Gap shorter on YouTube. That's not nice. I would ban you if I could, but I can't. But anyways, like I said, I'm fully transparent with all my coaching members. They see I alert them the trades right when I'm getting into it. I let them know when I'm getting out of it. I let them know if there's any management needed. But yeah, if you're interested in my coaching group, go to my X account, give me a follow, and on this pinned message, I always have the most recent update on the Wheel Account Challenge will always be pinned at the top. On this pinned message, click on it and comment income. That's what I did on the last stream. Just comment income so I know who you are, and then I'll reply back to you with the 20% off code for my coaching. Again, the full price for the coaching is only $39 a month. I'll make that back for you on the very first trade, no doubt. Within the first month, I'll probably finance a whole year's worth of the coaching cost. Okay. And again, if you get the 20% off, that's even a better deal in it. So yeah, Will and Mara right now, I'm up 35% on that one. Just did 2 lot size on that one. And I'm also willing JetBlue while I'm kind of bottom feeding that one when anytime it's down in the 4 and the 5s. I usually take nibbles on JetBlue, and I've always made good money on it. Up 43% on that trade. And I am willing Ford again. The last time I'm just coming off of a wheel on Ford that fully rotated, and I ended up getting 10% return on the capital I was using. And that wheel did take about 3 months to fully rotate. But you got to think, 3 months, what's that? That's 1 quarter. If you're getting 10% return on your capital every quarter, you're on the way to beat the S&P annual average by 4x, which would be just a phenomenal achievement there. That would be fantastic. So I'm willing Ford again, and I'm nice and green on that position as well. And this is just a sample. I have other trades out there, but just kind of wanted to give everyone a peek under the hood and talk about my account challenge that I started 4 weeks ago, already up 9.1%. And like I say, I'm very transparent about everything, and all my coaching members, my team members on my team, they all know exactly what contracts I'm trading. They know exactly when I'm entering and exiting, and we're just having a blast. And there's so many people doing this account challenge with me, and they're just so excited. They and a lot of times, especially the people newer to writing contracts, they just didn't realize that there was another way to trade, and that's kind of my job in the Discord is to make sure I let everybody know that there is different ways to trade. All right. There's actually a lot of different ways to trade. And I like to be really creative with my trades. And some of my trades are multi-leg options and things of that nature. So if you've ever been interested in becoming a contract writer, or becoming an option seller on the onset of the trade, I'm your guy. All right. Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. Links are in the description. But yeah, it's been about an hour, almost 1,200 people in the stream. It's good seeing everyone. I see a lot of familiar names in the chats. Appreciate y'all coming out to support me. I hope y'all are enjoying the content. But yeah, it's been fun. I hope everyone has a fantastic night. And until next time, I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers.